Happy Friday, guys. Welcome to PuckTime on WagerTalk TV. Looking forward to a good slate in the NHL. It's a smaller one, but it's a pretty good one. We're going to look forward to hopefully cashing some tickets. I got some props for you guys today. Carmine's got you with a little bit of a look ahead for Saturday's slate as usual. And yeah, Carm, we've got some plays in some other leagues as well I'm going to surprise you guys with. So looking forward to a good show, man. I'm going to surprise you with some plays, and I'm in a good mood here today. You know, it's been a struggle the past couple of days here with hockey, but make some bets today and look towards a good Saturday slate, and we'll see what we can do on the weekend and try and turn things around. How was your night, man?
It was so-so. The football game was absolutely insane. Hockey picked up one win with that. The Sabres, the pod play, the Sabres like Columbus. I took Columbus as a dog against Minnesota. They were right in it until the third period. Then they just a couple empty netters. They allowed to go with like 6 minutes left and then a couple empty netters. I really don't look at the empty netters. It's what they did up until that point. Played well, but Minnesota just keeps on playing even better. And anyone who had the under in that game, I feel sorry for them because those empty netters, Andrew, will kill you. And guys in the chat, this is how I woke up Andrew. Actually, I didn't wake him up, but this is how I greeted Andrew. Let me get the Andrew. You ready? Here we go. Hold on a second. Where's my audio? Yes, that is the Buffalo Sabres.
Sabres win. Sabres win.
Sabres. The Sabres goal horn. 4 wins now for the Sabres after they swept away the Philadelphia Flyers. The Broad Street Bullies no more. The Leafs lost. Hey, that was fun. Sabres are 1 point behind the Leafs. They're having a total meltdown here in Toronto, guys. Let me tell you, they are melting here, man. It is unbelievable. Austin Matthews, when they interview him, he just looks like he doesn't care. I know he does. I know like the players care, but there is no heart right now in this team. We'll see what they do on the weekend because they play Nashville on Saturday, and we'll discuss that a little later on, Andrew. But other than that, the football game, absolutely nuts. I was on Seattle -1 with my clients, and that thing looked dead in the water. But they somehow came back, won that game. And 49er fans, if there's any 49er fans in our comment section, you have got to be happy because that was the team you wanted to win yesterday. Because if LA won, they played Atlanta and Arizona to finish off their season. They end up with the number 1 seed. If Seattle would have won, and they did win, they now have the number 1 seed, but they need to win out to hold on to that number 1 seed. And who do they play on the final weekend of the NFL season? They go to San Fran to play the 49ers. So if the 49ers win the next 2 weeks and then win at home, they are the number 1 seed. And Andrew, I'm holding a ticket from Circa. It's part of a parlay ticket. No, it's part of a parlay ticket. So I'm not going to brag because the other parts of it have to come in. One of which is Colorado to win the Stanley Cup and Brazil to win the World Cup. So it was one of those ones where you put 100 to win like 76,000 or whatever. And I did it. So, Andrew, I'll invite you down to Vegas if it hits. So
Carm, check this out, man. Check this out. We've got, I just saw this tweet before the show of Pierre LeBrun, and we've been talking ad nauseum about how close the league has been and how competitive it's been this year. And honestly, the West has kind of been better than the East as far as depth is concerned. Check this out. All 16 teams in the Eastern Conference are 500 or better in points percentage this morning, while there are 7 teams in the Western Conference below that 500 points percentage mark. But flip side to that, in the West, the elite teams are at the top, and those are the elite of the elite. So it's almost like the best teams in the league right now are in the Western Conference, but overall, the competitiveness of one division and one conference resides in the Eastern Conference. What do you think about this right now, man? It's so cool to look at the fact that every single game means something. Tampa Bay was in first place in the Atlantic Division at the start of this week, Carm. They're barely in a playoff spot right now. It's crazy to look at. It is crazy to look at.
And this is what's going to make the second half of the season that much better. Is, we're going to see we're going to see some trades, whether they happen in the next few days before the freeze, the NHL trade freeze, or whether it happens before the Olympics in February, remains to be seen. But we're going to see some moves. Andrew, when I look at the standings in the East, I think of, like, basically there's 5 teams that don't care. And by that I mean don't care because they know that they have enough talent on their team that they're going to make the playoffs. They're not worried about positioning. I think Florida will get there, and they'll find a way of getting there. They're the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champions, and they're winning some games right now. Carolina is a beast. The Washington Capitals are becoming the Capitals of last season at home. I don't want to face them at home. I don't want to bet against them at home. They welcomed the Leafs last night, and then, like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, when they throw jazz outside of the mansion, that's what they did. They just tossed the Leafs out of the mansion last night. So, the Capitals are playing well. So you look at some of these teams, and Tampa Bay, they're going to be there. It is you can pretty much ring off about 5 teams that will be there, and then know that they can just make a move or two to basically give them some depth in spots in which they might need it. And the rest of the Eastern Conference are going to be scrambling for those spots, be it the 3 seed in the Atlantic, or 3 seed in the Metro, or one of the 2 playoff wildcard spots. So even the Ottawa Senators, Andrew, are starting. They're a bet on team right now. And we're going to talk about them.
Yesterday we talked about it. Remember on the show, I said I was shocked. They were minus 175, but I guess they were minus 175 for a reason, right? 4-0 win. 4-0 win. Yeah. And look at the Metropolitan, man. Like Carolina plus 21 goal differential, Washington plus 22 goal differential. And I know we got some guys in here talking about who was it here? 12 Coles, he says, please reformat the playoffs. The format does kind of suck.
Yeah.
But when you look at it, that's how it's so important to either, make the top 3 in your division, or especially Carolina and Washington going to be competing for that top spot. And then, you mentioned Florida. Like, Florida's the biggest factor here. I know it's only, December 19th we're talking, but it is so funny because everybody has Florida making the playoffs. Nobody's worried about them. Toronto is now minus 180 to miss the playoffs. But the biggest thing about all of this, I keep saying, is the Metropolitan Division is more competitive here, Carm. Like, the rest of that list below those teams, New Jersey, Florida, New York, and Pittsburgh, Ottawa only has 36 points. Like you mentioned, they're a bet on team, Carm. I'm right there with you. I think Ottawa's a team to definitely look at moving forward.
Yeah, Andrew, I'm giving you credit, man. Yesterday I said to you, when we were talking about the games yesterday, and we got to the Ottawa game, I said to you, Andrew, make me understand why this line is that thing. And you talked about Ottawa and that they're getting better, and that they're a bet on team. So I got to give you credit, because I watched that game. I looked at this morning when I went through like the power rankings in my data sheets, and I updated like a lot of the XG stuff. I'm like, wow, Ottawa played really well last night.
Yeah, they're looking pretty good.
So kudos to you, man. I'm going to give you credit on that one. I'm not saying you turned around the Ottawa Senators. I'm saying you made me aware of it. All right. Sometimes these things slip through the holes. But with that said, and we're like now 9 minutes into the show, Carolina at Florida. Carolina minus 130. I'm seeing 133s, 134s in some spots. Florida plus 109 at home, Andrew. The total sits here at 6. I want your thoughts first before I talk about this one.
Well, from a market perspective, I was a little bit shocked. How often do we see Circa have a higher number on a favorite than DraftKings? And earlier in today, I saw a minus 130 at Circa, or 135 at Circa, and I saw 130 or 128, something along that line, at DraftKings. Leading indicator books are pointing towards the road team here in this one, and it's hard to really argue it. Like, Carm, you're an XG guy. You look at anything this Carolina Hurricane team is doing, whether it's defensively or offensively, they have just been unbelievable. I mean, their goals against has been fantastic. Their goal differential has been fantastic. They're second on the season and expected goals for. And you look at expected goals against, they're the third best team in expected goals against. So they're just so good, so consistent. I know this Florida Panthers team is getting it together. I know they're starting to score more. I know some of their key players are picking it up. We just talked about them. They're going to have to be able to win games without their key players, and I do understand that. But when I look at this team coming off that win against the LA Kings, that was their first game back at home after a couple game road trip there. I see no reason why we can't make money once again on the Carolina Hurricanes. This is a team that's playing the right way. Typically, I do like and favor looking at them when they do play at home, Carm. But in this spot, with all the metrics that I'm seeing, I see no issue of looking towards them having success. But I will say it's Freaky Friday. I would not be shocked to see an under in this game here, Carm. Kind of a snooze fest. Past couple of days, we've been seeing a lot of boring hockey games. We really have been seeing a lot of unders lately. I don't know if that's because teams are buckling down defensively or goaltending has been better or whatever it is. But I wouldn't be shocked to see a really good defensive effort from both teams in this one.
Yeah, Andrew, I look at this and these two teams they're both playing extremely well right now. But the Canes every once in a while will throw in a clunker like they did against the San Jose Sharks at home, where they lose 4-1. I think it was the second of a back-to-back in that one, and then and one in which they lost to the Leafs, and that was at the cusp of where I said I think the Leafs they're playing well at the time, and I thought the Leafs are a good play-on team at the moment, and the Leafs won like 3 or 4 games in a row, and now they're hovering around that 500 mark, as we call it. Excuse me. But, I think the end game for these two teams coming into this game is completely different. Florida knows that they're going to make the playoffs, even if they're on the outside looking in, and Carolina does as well too. But Carolina has a point to prove because, they get bounced by Florida last year in the, what was it, the conference finals. They lose 4-1 in that series. Florida played extremely well. Carolina has something to prove. Now, you're going to prove it against a Florida team that has some injuries. They're still winning, but have some injuries. But I think the game has a little more importance to Carolina as far as their psyche goes. Let's keep our win streak going. Let's get a win under our belts against this Florida team and prove that we can beat them in the Sunshine State as well too. And I think that's why they're at this number of 133, because why else would Florida be a dog at home after coming back from a very good road trip and then beating Tampa and then beating the LA Kings, who, the Kings are a pretty good road team, and they proved it, I think, again last night. I believe they beat Tampa Bay last night. So, with that said, I think the market is where it should be in this one, in that 130 range. I think Carolina has got a very good chance of winning this game tonight, even as a small favorite. And that is a small favorite for Carolina, given some of their lines over the last 2 to 3 weeks. They've been much heavier than that. Carolina for me.
Carm, people in the chat are talking about, the history between these teams and if that really affects our handicap here. I just think that this Hurricanes team is going to be dialed in here. And again, I still don't trust the consistency level of this Florida Panthers team. I really don't. And looking at the past couple meetings between these two teams, I think we have seen the Florida Panthers have success, but we've also seen the Florida Panthers have success with Tkachuk in the lineup, with key defensemen in the lineup, and with Barkov in the lineup. When you're playing the elite teams like Carolina, you can't be losing guys like that.
Yeah, no, you can't. And I think he's questionable for tonight, Evan Rodriguez, as well tonight. But Andrew, I agree with you. It's like they went into Carolina. They went into as well as Florida was playing. They went into Colorado, who are an elite team, and they got smashed 6-2. Like, you look at some of the games that they lost. They lose to the Leafs, they lose to the Calgary Flames, they lose to the Nashville Predators before they hit the road and win on that run. They got a couple. They played that game against Columbus, a team that could not score, and they won that game 7-6 in OT. So it's been a good run for them, but you also have to factor in some of the teams that they lost to. And especially on home ice. they dropped those games. So they lost to the Flyers 4-2 on home ice. They followed that up with a loss to the Calgary Flames on home ice, and then the Leafs on home ice as well too, right? So this team does lose games. They do lose games on the road or at home. They're going to get healthy at some point, but they're winning games while they've got these injuries. Matthew Tkachuk is coming back. This team is going to be healthy, no sick. These guys are going to come back and make Florida a formidable second half team. Are they worried about the first half of the season? I'm sure they don't like losing, but they're not tossing up the SOS or shooting the flares and the SOS signal going out. This team knows they're going to make the playoffs. I would not bet against this team making the playoffs and making another deep run as well too. But as far as this game goes, Andrew, for them it's a game. I think the motivation is on the visitors' bench tonight and in that dressing room. Carolina, for me, I think is the right play.
I'm right there with you.
With that said, speaking of teams that can't seem to score, the Winnipeg Jets, they get Connor Hellebuck back, and they're losing like 1-0 games. I wanted to say 1-0 because I've been doing my soccer research this morning. But this, Andrew, I don't know why. Minus 250. I just don't want to play this game at minus 250 with Colorado. It is like, what if Hellebuck stands on his head, figuratively, not literally, and Winnipeg steals one? I don't know. How do you play this game? How are you playing it?
Hey, it is Friday. Anything can happen on a Friday in the NHL. I always say that, Carm. It's a weird day in the NHL. What I'm going to say is that I'm disappointed I haven't been on the Avalanche enough this season. Like, Carm, it's one of those things where, I've admitted it on the show. A lot of times I'll try and pick a time when a team is going to get out of a losing streak, right? Or when a team is going to turn it around. Meanwhile, you've got the people that have been taking Colorado puck line all season, and those guys are just stacking tickets. Like, you look at when this team's had success, it's been so good for them. But the end of the day, I truly believe this here. The only way that this Jets team stands a chance in this game is by playing defensive hockey. It's the only chance that they have is by playing defensive hockey here in this one. And it's not often, Carm, you can get a even money or better price on a team to get under 3.5 goals. That's what my move is here on the Colorado Avalanche. I'm going to do a little bit of a plus 1.5 on Winnipeg, a little bit of a under 3.5 goals for Colorado. We're going to spread it all around here a little bit. And maybe we can do a sprinkle on the Winnipeg Jets. This is a big test for this team because people are calling them slow. People are saying that they're not the same team they once were. And so we're going to find out here. But the one thing I will say is that you've got two teams now that are in a pretty good scheduling spot because they both don't play on Saturday. They both play tonight and they both play on Sunday. And then their next games after that, not till like the next weekend. I think this is a big spot for the Winnipeg Jets. This is a big defensive game. I'm going under 3.5 goals for Colorado at plus 100. So I'm hoping I turn this game on and it's like 1-0, 2-1, then just does nothing all game, 3-2, and then it just like I don't think we see a ton of action in this game overall. What do you think?
I think the only way, and I get where you're coming from. I think the only way I would play this one if I had to is I would probably take Colorado in regulation. I'm not going to lay 250 on Colorado. They're such a tough beat at home. Andrew, they're 15 home games. They have yet to lose a game in regulation. 13 wins in regulation, 2 overtime losses, 71-33 goal differential. That to me is insane. 30 plus 38 on home ice. 28 points, tied with the Minnesota Wild as far as the best home teams points wise for this Colorado team. They're like I said, they're like minus 145 in this spot. Winnipeg's lost like 4 straight road games. And then even if someone tries to hang their hat on, you've got Wedgwood in goal tonight. The backup goalie. This guy is 14-1-4 on the season, a 211 goals against average, 920 save percentage. Unbelievable right now because the team in front of them, Colorado's playing the way they are because look at their injury list. They have none. This is a team that in the last couple of years, obviously had the injuries, the biggest one being Landeskog. But this team, fully healthy with everyone in the lineup, almost looks unbeatable at this point. So with that said, for me, Andrew, I think Logan O'Connor, I think, is the only guy I think that shows up on the injury list. For me, it's Colorado in regulation. If you played every single Colorado regulation game at home this season, you're up money. You're up a lot of units. So with that said, Colorado in regulation -145.
Wash, rinse, repeat. That's what I'm saying. I wish
I think I just talked myself into a client play. There you go. I just talked myself into. I already had 3. Now I think I have 4.
And you know what? Perlo has a great point. And Perlo, I forgot to get back to you yesterday. I apologize in DMs, but he says Hellebuck over saves if you think Avs won't score much. And it's true. If I think that Winnipeg's going to have a chance, then I probably like the Hellebuck saves prop. So it's a pretty good shout there, Perlo. I think it's a pretty good call. Pretty good call.
It's a Perlo of wisdom, my friend.
I like it. Jeffrey says backup goalies don't mean as much as they once did. They're all professionals. That's like saying the Lakers won't do well without LeBron. Well, I actually couldn't. I agree with that because back in the day, back in Carmine's day when he was my age, 45 years ago. But
when color TV was just invented, yes, I get it. It's all right.
But like, the backup goalie used to play like what, 15 games a year? Like, you know what I mean? Like there were some goalies that played like 70 games a year. And now you've got it's like a 60-40 split with the percentage. So you need to have a good backup. So it is a really good point there with that. And yes, good point there by Antonio. Jets. Helly has great numbers versus Colorado last 3 outings. So we'll see what we can do. Gus B. Bussin'. What's up, gents? Good to see you, Gus. All right, Carm, next one here. We've got the Stars and the Ducks. Second half of back-to-back for the Stars, but first game back of a road trip for the Anaheim Ducks. I'll save some time here on this one. If there's an over I like on the board, this is the over that I like. I know that Ottinger has been good. All right, but I know DeSmith has been good, but I still think Ottinger is the number 1 guy. And with it being second half of back-to-back, we are getting DeSmith. And I understand you've got a great goalie with Lucas Dostal, but I still think Dallas is a great offensive team. Anaheim plays better at home. I could see action in this one. I lean towards the home team here, even though people are saying back-to-backs don't matter. And one thing, Carm, we always say, and I've been saying this all week on the show, all year on the show, I'm more likely to back a team on back-to-back if they lost the first game. If they won the first game, they might be taking that second game a bit lightly. So lean Ducks, but I do like some goals in this one. What do you think?
I think I'm with you on that one. I was going to talk about Casey DeSmith, so that's good. But I think in 12 starts, if you're looking at totals and you're looking at 6.5 totals in specific, 6-6, the games would be to the over/under. So a split right down the middle with regards to that one. It is like the second of a back-to-back. And you got Anaheim returning home off a 5-game East Coast trip with a lot of travel. They've been home for a couple days at the very least, Andrew, I believe, because I think that bear with me 1 second here. I'm pretty sure that road trip for them ended on the 15th in Columbus, I believe. I should have been a little more prepared here. Yes. The 8th. The 16th. So they've had a couple days off after traveling back from Columbus, who they play tomorrow as well too. I like the over in that game a little bit more than I do in this one, but I think Dallas is likely the right side here. Anaheim's a good team. They needed that win badly in Columbus. I don't know, Andrew. It is tough because we're seeing, Joel Quenneville's trying to do everything he can to keep this team playing well like they did earlier in the season. But they come home off this road trip. Are they going to be flat tonight? It wouldn't surprise me if they were. And then the other thing is that the Dallas Stars can make a lot of teams look flat. Colorado can make a lot of teams look flat, as does Carolina. So you never really know as far as that goes. I would probably look at the first period over more so than the full game over, because it could be one of those ones where you see the goals early in this game, and then it sort of dies down after that. With a total of 6.5, if Anaheim doesn't contribute and Casey DeSmith plays well, then we've got a problem. So Houston, we've got a problem. Give me the first period over. I'm all over the place. I'm all over the place. It was Andrew. I went to I did WagerTalk last call yesterday, and I gave out Zach Charbonnet some props with him in that game, including the anytime touchdown. He scores the anytime touchdown, first TD of the game, which was great, but he came up about 8 yards short and 8 rushing yards short and 1 rushing attempt short of making it a 3-0 night in that one. But with my friends, and they had the Raptors game on, the Leafs game on, they had the Montreal game on, and then they had the football game on. And the manager there at this place, this really big sports bar, likes me because he put the audio on for the football game, not the Leafs game or the Raptors game. That doesn't happen very often in Toronto, let me tell you that much.
I know you're the same as me, Carm. I'm a big audio guy. When I'm watching games, I need to hear the commentary. When I'm at a bar and I hear the commentary, it makes it that much better. It's just, it gets you more into the game, gets you more fired up. So, Carm, I'm gonna tweet out any props that I like later, but I've got some plays for you. And this time, I had plays for you last week in the NCAA hockey. I've got plays for you today in AHL hockey. This is going to be the situational spot, and shout out Dave Koken. He loved this spot here. This is a team coming off a game where they fired their head coach. And yes, this is applicable in the NCAA, in the NHL, in the AHL, in NBA, in NFL, whatever the league might be. So, Carm, the Belleville Senators, that's the AHL affiliate, of course, of the Ottawa Senators. They fired their coach, but they have not played a game since last Sunday. Now they'll play a game here tonight against the Rochester Americans. They're plus 135 underdogs. I like that number. You can take a look at the plus 1.5 as well to make a little plus 1 line if you'd like. And I also like the under in the game overall. I think defense would be the name of the game for this team. I think they get the job done. The second play I wanted to mention, Lee Valley Phantoms, minus 130 at home. Total is 5.5 here. Bridgeport Islanders. Bridgeport's not been playing very well. They've been conceding a ton of goals, and I think the Phantoms are a spot to look at, especially when they've been playing well at home. So we've got 2 plays in the AHL for tonight, the American Hockey League. Every book should offer this for you guys. The Belleville Senators plus 135. Lean the plus 1.5 as well, but it's a more sharp 175, 180, so you can make that plus 1 line if you'd like. Carm, you know this angle works well in multiple sports. They fired their coach on Sunday. They've had all week to practice. We'll see if this team can show up after they got rid of their coach with a new team and had that little spark with them on a Friday night. But we're mixing in some AHL, guys. Let's do it. Let's cash some tickets. And we will have some World Junior plays coming up as well on Boxing Day. And Carm, I know you love that stuff as well. And man, I'll tell you, my favorite time to bet on props is during the World Juniors, believe it or not. I love that stuff. So anyway, that's it for me. That's all I've got. I'll have my every game on the board video will be posted, I think, later tonight or early tomorrow morning, talking about every single game on Saturday. And I got a really good coupon code going up for 7 days of NHL as we try and bounce back and get on a really good run here going into Saturday. That's it for me, Carm. But you've got not 1, but 2 segments coming up, brother. So get ready. It's
and
all
I want
you.
to talk, Andrew. I like talking like the I follow it. The university hockey in the U.S., but I don't bet it. I do follow it, and I follow it because one of my friends, his son is a goalie at Trin University. He had a fantastic season last year. Kyle Kozma is his name. Toronto Canadian goalie. But we need some Canadian goalies because I think the manufacturing plant of goalies right now is a lot of the good ones are coming out of the U.S. We need some good Canadian goalies, and I'm talking about that because the Olympics are around the corner. But he's having another good season with Trin as well too. So kudos to him in goal. I would love to see. I joke around with my friend because he's the diehard Leafs fan. I'm like, man, I hope your son goes into the draft and gets drafted by the Sabres. And you're gonna have to buy a Sabres jersey. And he's like, I will buy you one as well too, and we'll go watch the games. So with that said, let's do the pod first. And then I will do the 6 and 60, which will probably be like 6 and 90, but what the heck. We're going to go right back to the first game in the pod for the pod play. I'm going with the Carolina Hurricanes here. This team is playing extremely well right now. They're minus 130 in this spot. I like them in this spot. As I mentioned, I think this game means more to them. And it's hard to say that when we're only halfway into the season. But this team needs, as well as they're playing right now, needs that confidence boost of going into Florida and playing against the two-time defending champions and beating them on home ice. And I think this is a spot where they can get it done. I'm going to take the Carolina Hurricanes minus 130 tonight as your pod play. Let's see if we can get this total over 7K with a win tonight.
Keep it going, Carm. Keep it going, man. You're building the bankroll. The Caniacs on the road, minus 130. All right, Carm, you have taken a look at the Saturday slate, as have I. Looking forward to a couple of good games tomorrow. It's going to be a good one, but we got to get you ready for a big slate. The 6
Can
and
I do
60,
it?
6 and 65, 6 and 75. What is it going to be here? All right, let's hear it. What do you have for us, Carm?
All right, hold on. I meant to turn my timer on, and I clicked on my calculator instead. God, I'm old. All right, Andrew. Here we go. The timer is set. All right, this is your 6 and 60 for Saturday. Washington and Detroit. We're going to take the Capitals on the money line. Both teams are playing well, but the Caps are playing super well at home right now. 7-1-2 their last 10. Ottawa and Chicago. Ottawa money line in this one. The Sens are a bet on team. Chicago can't score any goals with Bedard out of the lineup. They've only scored 5 goals in their last 4 games. Nope, not Chicago for me. Give me Ottawa. Florida and St. Louis. Florida in regulation. Hopefully they're coming off of a loss on Friday night to Carolina. But the Blues injuries and the lack of quality wins has me on Florida in regulation. Nashville and Toronto. Preds money line. It's going to be plus money. Preds 6-4 their last 10 with losses to Carolina twice, Colorado and Winnipeg. Leafs have lost 4 of their last 6. Anaheim and Columbus over 6.5. Ducks are home off a 5-game East Coast trip on the second of a back-to-back. They played Dallas on Friday night. Give me over 6.5. These teams played to a 4-3 result on Tuesday. San Jose and Seattle. Sharks money line. Kraken are 1-10 their last 11. Seattle, the Sharks, the 4th best record in at home in the West, 10-6-3. That is your 6 and 60.
Not bad. 6
horrible. 6 and 74.
74, yeah. 6 and 74.
At least I didn't do 6 and 67, like or whatever it was last week.
I'll tell you, man, the Kraken. I don't know what the hell the deal is with those guys, but did you see that press conference the other day? The coach would only let one media member talk to him the whole press conference. He won't really discuss the game with anybody. This team is in shambles right now. They're not looking good at all.
Yeah.
They're not looking good.
Andrew, you look at it and it's becoming more apparent. I think with like some of the teams that are falling by the wayside or regression has set in that and we anticipated it could be happening, that those are the ones that are going to be sellers. I think it is a seller's market this year, especially because of what is going on in the East. In the West, because you have such a separation of talent amongst the teams, the top 4 or 5 are very good. They're going to be hard to beat in a 7-game series. That goes with, obviously Colorado, the Edmonton Oilers, as long as that goaltending issue is resolved, the Dallas Stars, who are playing phenomenal right now. Those you look at those 3. The Minnesota Wild have entered the building with whether he's a rental player or not. Quinn Hughes and that goaltending that they have right now, makes them in a 7-game series, it makes them a scary team to want to play. And then, of course, the Vegas Golden Knights. You got 5 teams there that may want to add a player here or there just to improve the third line, the fourth line, and the depth of the team. That's why it's going to be, I think it's going to be a seller's market in the Eastern Conference. So teams like Pittsburgh, they're going to be selling off. They have to be selling off. I'd be really surprised. I get the whole Sidney Crosby thing, that he wants to finish his career with Pittsburgh. There's no saying he can't. He's just going to be a rental player with a playoff team next season. I'm not sure about the Malkin thing. Maybe you guys in the chat. What value does Malcolm bring? I'm not saying the guy is a third line player, but he would look good on one of these teams as a third line player, wouldn't he, Andrew?
I think the only thing is, Carm, is that like I feel like those guys don't want to stay, maybe, but like it's like, okay, if you don't leave, I won't leave. If you don't leave, I won't leave. And it's Letang, it's Crosby, it's Malkin, and it's kind of like they all feel like they have to stick together a little bit. That's the issue. But I think Malkin deserves it. I think my biggest stance has been, Crosby, if he didn't have 3 Stanley Cups, he would already be gone. That's how I look at it. If he didn't have 3 Stanley Cups, he'd already be gone. But it would suck to see him end his career, Carm, by missing the playoffs. How many years ago is it? How many years in a row? Like, this team is just not competitive, and they did pretty well, but at the end of the day, they're just Gus says, please don't talk about this. Look, it's sad though, man, because some Pittsburgh, I think that honestly though, some Pittsburgh fans and season ticket holders, I honestly don't think they would blame him. Like the true fans, I don't think they should blame him if they did, but I think he's too classy, then he worries about how people would probably perceive that.
Yeah, no, listen, it's a new NHL, unfortunately, with a bad playoff format that they have. I used to love the one, Andrew, the 1 versus 8, or sorry, even the overall 1 versus 16, 2 versus 15. Where like the way travel is right now, you could easily have that format in there, but they don't want a setup where you have the number 1 team, Colorado, having to go cross country and play a team like hypothetically the Toronto Maple Leafs, who finished in the 16th seed, and playing them in the first round of the playoffs, travel back and forth. So I get it. You want to keep the East in the East and the West in the West, but it's such a terrible format. I just think the Eastern Conference teams and ones like Pittsburgh, you can move players, but there's going to be a lot of dead. It's got to go to teams with a lot of dead cap space that can give up a prospect for your. Pittsburgh isn't sending Sidney Crosby to just anybody. Kyle Dubas isn't going to send them just anybody and not get anything in return, knowing that Sid's going to come back anyways. He's just a rental player. He's going to come back. They're going to want some prospects. That's how you rebuild a team in doing that. You look at different sports, Andrew, and you mentioned it. Sidney Crosby, 3 Stanley Cups already. He wants to be in the playoffs again before his career is over. This would be the perfect year for that to happen, because Pittsburgh, even next year, is not going to make the playoffs just because of that cap space issue that they have. Players eventually need to take care of themselves. And I will reference someone who, as a Bills fan, Andrew, I've never liked the New England Patriots, but Tom Brady, for the longest time, the guy's a GOAT. He made New England what they are, winning those Super Bowls. But every year, Kraft convinced them to take less money to rebuild it, to keep the team elite. And towards the end of Brady's career there, he's like, I'm getting paid minimal compared to some of the other quarterbacks, and we're not improving the team. He was going to get killed at some point. He leaves, contract's over, goes to Tampa Bay, and wins another Super Bowl. Great on him. Look after yourselves. This is the point I think I'm trying to make. It took me a while to get there, but that's the point I'm trying to make. We're going to be talking about some great deals, and this could be one of those ones, Andrew, that over the next month we talk about some really good ones, and then on actual trade deadline day, it's dead. There's nothing going on because the big moves got made. Kind of like, remember the Rantanen one last season? as well too. A lot of the moves were made early on. Anything to add before we close up the show and let people know what we have up?
Yeah, I think that because of the condensed schedule and because of how everything works, and I think that it's going to be another year where the trade deadline is not very exciting. I think there's going to be a lot of trades that happen super early on, super early on. So look forward to seeing what ends up happening and where guys go. But Carm, we need to wait more time for some of these bad teams to get worse.
Yeah.
Once they start to get worse and start tanking, then we'll be good to go to start seeing some trades. But as I mentioned, I've got plays for NFL this Sunday and player prop world. I've got some AHL and NHL plays for tonight. And that's it for me. Carm, what's going on for you this weekend?
All right. We'll start with today. No soccer today. This has been kind of a dead week for soccer with no Champions League and not a lot. It's been Cup week in all the domestic leagues. But, man, I have 4 plays on Saturday, Andrew. And I'm going to be uploading them right after the show for soccer. It's going to be a huge weekend, I hope. 3 plays up in the NHL tonight. Even though it's a small card, I really like this card tonight. Hockey will go up shortly as well too. Two bowl games. One of the college football playoff games that are going today. 3-0 start to the college bowl season. Let's keep that run going. They have some great deals over at WagerTalk to get like the 3-day all access, or you can get the what's the football one called, Andrew? The Iron Man? I can't remember. There's a promo to get all the Weekend Warrior, all the college football games, all the NFL games. And then if you just want NFL, here's a coupon for you for Sunday. Sunday 10. Sunday and the number 10 have a 4-pack up, which includes 3 4% plays and 1 5% play in the NFL on Sunday. You can knock that 39 down to 29 with Sunday 10. That's it for me, man. Andrew, close it out. Next week, guys, only 2 shows, Monday and Tuesday. But I will, because there's no games on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I will be recording a 6 and 60 on Friday because we'll have a full slate of games on the Saturday. But that's it for me, man.
Shout out to all the live chat. Shout out to all you guys that tune in after the show. We appreciate all of you guys. And shout out to Carm, been on a roll with the play of the day. So, guys, happy to see you've all been tailing and jumping in. And we love seeing your plays as well that you guys are on in the live chat as well. Wishing you guys a great weekend. Stay safe out there. Have fun during the holiday season. And remember to call an Uber or a Lyft. Do not drink and drive. Enjoy yourselves, guys. We'll see you on Monday.